What's good, guys? Prince Sports here. Big dogs. Push it to the limit. Coming to all you sports lights. Now, check this out. If you're one of those people that got Bill Russell ranked, let's just say Wilt Chamberlain, above Wilt Chamberlain. I'm going to use Wilt Chamberlain as a perfect example because they played in the same era pretty much. But if you do have him ranked above Wilt Chamberlain, it's definitely because of one reason and one reason only. It's because Bill Russell got 11 championships. That's it. Has
You blew it.
nothing to do with player versus player and everything else in between. Because when we talk about GOATs and ranking guys, especially superstars, everything matters. The scoring titles, the MVPs, the finals MVPs. And a couple years from now, Western Conference playoff MVP will matter. Eastern Conference playoff will matter because it's an individual accolade. Every accolade matters to a superstar because it adds to their resume. But one thing they all have to have, it's like being a doctor. You have to have championships on your resume. Okay? Now, having more championships than the other guy isn't always the case for ranking another guy better. But if one guy is lacking in both categories, then he's normally not going to be considered better because we have to rank and look at everything when it comes to superstars. And outside of just more championships, Bill Russell was not better than Wilt Chamberlain. As a matter of fact, I got a little edge on this historian matter because my grandfather was from that era. God rest his soul, but he was one of those guys that watched it, the Oscar Robertsons. I said this over a million times. The Wilt Chamberlains, the Bill Russells. And you know what he has? He has something that a lot of people don't have. He has rare collections of footage of guys like that. Games, okay? And I was able to study those games, watch those games in the 80s and early 90s, where you had access to these guys weren't as hard to find as it is now because we're in a whole different generation, right? So it's completely different. We're in a different era, different story. But the same thing applies to a lot of players, even today. Steph Curry has a better individual accolades, a better individual resume than Bill Russell. But what he don't have is the better championships or the team success. So in order to be truly great, you got to have both lined up, per dominance, taking over the league, clear-cut best player in the world. And that wasn't Bill Russell. Bill Russell was getting cooked by Wilt Chamberlain. The only reason why Bill Russell beat Wilt Chamberlain is because he was playing on a better team. If you switch cases, Bill Russell would be the guy struggling to beat the Boston Celtics with Wilt Chamberlain on that team. Are you kidding me? Wilt Chamberlain with 8 future Hall of Famers, numerous All-Stars, they beat Bill Russell, who only plays one end of the floor. I'm sorry. Okay? He won't stand a chance. Because even when he guarded Wilt Chamberlain got the best of him a lot of times. Wilt Chamberlain was still dropping 50 on both of them, on that whole team, that whole squad. Okay? He shot over 48% when Bill Russell was guarding him a lot. So let's stop pretending like Bill Russell was doing some type of damage. Because if he played today, the only guy he would probably stop is the Joker. Because if the Joker had problems with Draymond Green, then he would definitely, I would give the edge to Bill Russell to have defensively to put some clamps on the Joker. But even the Joker may get the best of the Bill Russell a couple of times because Bill Russell will struggle against guys that's elite scorers. Not saying the Joker is an elite scorer. He's another guy that devalued the whole MVP, but that's another conversation for another day. But this is what makes guys like Michael Jordan so dominant and reason why we call him the best player in a game and best player of all time, because he has the individual dominance, the individual accolades, and he has the winning to go along with it. And the fact that he never lost even adds on to his legacy on the biggest stage there is, okay? So even if Michael Jordan, let's just say, never won no championships, he probably would have More scoring titles, more MVPs, more defensive players of the years, more first teams. He would have all of this stuff, right? All these individual accolades, but no championships. He'll still be called, for a lot of people, probably a top 10 player or even a top 5 player for most people, because he was just that dominant. But I know the criteria. We know the rules. You got to have championships. You have to have a championship on your resume to even be in that bulk of top 10. But when it comes to dominant basketball players, Wilt Chamberlain, Shaquille O'Neal, Michael Jordan are 3 of the most dominant basketball players in modern NBA history or NBA history, period. Michael Jordan is the greatest scorer in NBA history, all right, when it comes to per skill set, fundamentals, putting the ball in the basket, playing two-way basketball. Michael Jordan was the best, period. Okay, that's what he was truly elite in. You got guys in the league today, the LeBron James, good at a lot of things, but not great at nothing, not truly elite at nothing. LeBron James is not an elite scorer based off his skill set. There's lots of scorers in the league, even today, that has a better scoring skill set than LeBron James. He mostly scores like a Sean Kemp will score, a Blake Griffin will score, a Giannis Antetokounmpo will score. That's basically off athletic ability and power. Now, if you have it, use it, right? But he wasn't dominant like that. Even Shaq. Imagine Shaq and Bill Russell going head to head. Shaq would dominate Bill Russell. Too big, too strong. And there ain't nobody in the world stopping Shaq in his prime, okay? You would need a Mack truck to stop Shaq in his prime. Not to say that Bill Russell isn't a good basketball player. I'm not trying to do this to make some runs on Bill Russell, but we're going to set the record straight. Because you got some people telling me, oh, Bill Russell, he isn't a 3 or 2, or he's not supposed to be guarding those guys. If you're the best player on your team, you're gonna have to guard the best player on the opposite team. That's how it works. You're gonna have to put the clamps on some of these guys when the time comes, when a situation calls for you to be the best. Period. And Bill Russell, with the lack of production that he will produce on a basketball court, it's not even enough to be considered a number 1 on his own team. Will Bill Russell been a number 1 on his own team playing today? I have seriously doubts that he would be. Even if he would or was, he'll be close to what, a Dwight Howard probably? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, say he'd be close to a Dwight Howard. But he don't have the physique of a Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard was big and muscular. And Bill Russell was more on the skinny side. But let's just say, because Dwight Howard is an offspring of Bill Russell. He's a shot blocker, defensive player. Same way Bill Russell is. Ben Wallace, Rudy Gobert. Those are in the same vein as Bill Russell. All right? If Wilt Chamberlain played today, he'd be completely dominant. Okay? This guy's a 7-time scoring champ. All right? Averaged 50 points per game in one season. He's like a walking NBA encyclopedia. Just imagine if he played today, in today's game, okay, with all the advanced metrics and all this other nonsense and all these rule changes catered to offensive players. Wilt Chamberlain will have a ball in today's era. But I can't say the same thing for Bill Russell, because his offspring's proven me otherwise. Jordan offsprings don't prove me otherwise. Kobe Bryant is held as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And let's not act like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan don't have a lot in common. From the skill set to the moves, a lot. Okay? It's just that Jordan was more effective and a better defensive player. So on and so forth. Kawhi Leonard, an NBA champion, held as one of the top 5 best players in the game. He's a Michael Jordan offspring. So all of Michael Jordan's offsprings are successful in today's era. Michael Jordan will be successful in today's era. With that being said, Bill Russell was not better than Wilt Chamberlain. Only advantage he had, he was on a better team. That was it. Simply, that was it. If they switch roles, you already know what it is. And Wilt Chamberlain has less championships, but he has them. And he has more individual dominance. He was a better basketball player, period. And he's an all-time great that you need to give respect to. All right? Even if he is the LeBron James of this era. I mean, the LeBron James is the Wilt Chamberlain of this era, because they underachieved. But they still are all-time greats, even if they underachieved. Sports out. Peace.